I've made so many maps ranging from survival, camping, remakes, like demon player based maps, standalone maps, basically maps that kind of like have their own campaigns, but it's only like one map. And it's just crazy that I still have a lot of fuel left in the tank because look at all these maps that I've made. And there are maps that I'm really proud of, but then there are some that I'm not proud of. So the question is, which of these maps are going to make my top 10 favorite maps that I made with honorable mentions? Let's get to it. So number 10, I decided to go with a remake map, and this one is Suburbs 2016. First of all, this map was not an easy map to remake, and the fact I managed to pull it off with SnapMap is definitely an accomplishment for me. However, I am a big fan of the gameplay. I think it really does feel similar and have the same fun factor to the ultra violence difficulty of the map from Doom 2. I personally believe the textures I used also has a good resemblance to the original version too. The blue skull trap is definitely not the same compared to the Doom 2 version where there was a ridiculous amount of enemies you fight, but I'm still proud of what I could do with SnapMap's 12 enemy limit, and I wanted to make sure it was just as fun to kill all those demons. That's really all I gotta say about this map. I'm proud of it because it was definitely one of my most accomplishing remakes I've done. It's fun and it feels very faithful to the original version. Number 9 is a map where I wanted to create a map that expanded upon City Survival's formula, and that map is Nightclub Survival. I personally think this is my favorite one out of all the spiritual successors of City Survival. I think it was one of my best looking maps during the free update 2 days, and still is. I'm really proud with what I did with the visual design and just the atmosphere combining with its neon lights. It's also much more challenging than City Survival, and it's more rowdier because of how small the map is, and it's just a constant onslaught. It's such a fun and simple map, but it's just cool as a cyberpunk and Doom fan. Who doesn't want to fight demons in a pretty looking nightclub until you can't anymore? Number 8 is another remake and free update 2 map. I think this map is one of my proudest campaign-like maps I've made during free update 2, and that map is Closer to Hell. I personally think the atmosphere is much better than the original version, and for what I had to use at that time, I'm proud of how it looks, and just like Nightclub Survival, I think it's one of my best looking maps, and it plays very similarly to the original version, but in some cases, better. There were some enemy placements I was never a fan of in the original version, and I just think it isn't as annoying because there are so many hit scanners in the Doom 2 variant of Perdition's Gate. It's definitely a map I recommend if you played Perdition's Gate and want to experience the SnapMap variant, which I put a lot of love and care to make sure it plays well with SnapMap's mechanics. Number 7 is some of the 9 Decipher maps that made it on this top 10 list, and this one has always been one of my favorite maps from the campaign ever since I finished it, and it is Map 8 Ars Mortis. It feels like a real final map to a campaign should be. It's jam-packed with content, combines every aspects and features you encounter in Decipher, whether it's platforming, boss fights, swimming, exploration, and so on. I also like the atmosphere too at the near end of the map. It really does just give you that vibe that you are at the end of your journey, but you know there's going to be a lot of intense fights going to happen. I'm really glad I ended Decipher with a bang because it's really easy to make a final map and just get lazy with it, but I did not want this map to be like that. It needed to have a lot of content, and I was starting to run out of ideas while making the later levels of Decipher, but I'm so glad the final map doesn't feel half-assed. I also hope the final map for Secluded and Redemptor will be just as good, but it's going to be very tough to top this bad boy. Number 6 is by far my all-time favorite remake map I've made, and that means it's the final remake map on this list, and it's the map that you're watching right now. It is the Alien Shrine 2016. I've always loved this map in the original Doom 2 Megawatt. So much fun to play, and it's so challenging too, especially when you pistol start it, and I wanted to bring all of that to SnapMap. And just like Suburbs 2016 and Closer to Hell 2016, I definitely nailed that. It also looks very accurate to the original version, and it's probably one of my most accurate remakes I've done. It's just a blast to play the SnapMap version, and it's always a good feeling to bring one of your favorite maps from Perdition's Gate to life in SnapMap. Number 5 is another Decipher map here, and this one is Map 2, Hell's Arrival. I personally think this map has the best build-up moment I've ever done for any snap map I've made, and I'm talking about the outside portion. I feel like there's a lot of things that makes this map memorable for players when they first play it. It's the first map where the fights are going to get really intense. The city portion is also memorable too, especially the layout where there's a lot of exploration combined with the haunting atmosphere. And of course, McDonald's. It's just a great city themed level I made, and I personally think it has so much personality and great design choices I've done, which makes me feel like it deserves to be on this list. Number 4 is by far one of my most simplest maps I ever made, and probably the most simplest map on this list, and that is Castle Intrusion. I wanted to try to make a map that makes you feel like you're in a castle with the preset modules, because this was made back in Free Update 2, so making a full-on castle was very difficult, but there was a guy who did manage to do it, but it was very laggy, and not only that, he had to rely a lot on the teleport destination for the enemies, and that also made a lot of the fights just feel glitchy and not that great. Castle Intrusion is very simple compared to the later Hell maps I made and to my custom geo stuff. It didn't have much decoration because at that time I was still not good at doing that type of thing, but it's just so much fun to play, and I think I just chose the right preset modules and make you feel like you're in a castle. It's also a map that's a blast to play in co-op too. I think this is one of the funnest maps that you can play by me when it comes to co-op experiences. Number 3 is possibly one of the most difficult maps you can play for me, and that is Morbid Sanctum. This was me pushing Free Update 2 to its limits, and boy did I do it. It's pretty much what you expect from me. It's a non-linear hell themed custom geo map with a lot of intense fights, and it was the map that debuted my swimming idea. It's very fun, challenging, and man do I love the feeling I get when I beat it without dying in solo. It's definitely a tough one, so get ready to sweat like hell when you play it. It's also amazing in co-op too, so you get the best of both worlds when you play this map. And it's just an exhilarating map if you want to play a map that tests your skills and get your blood pumping. Number 2 is a map I'm sure everyone recognizes me for, and that is City Survival. I knew this map was going to be at least top 2 or top 3 when I made this list. It's by far the most played map I've ever played out of all the maps I've made. It's basically a combination of my love for cyberpunk designed city with arena shooters like Quake 3 Arena when I made this survival map. I wanted to make a map that was very easy on the time, easy to play, but tough to master. It's easily the funnest map I've made, and it's always a blast to play this one with friends or randoms, and it's also the map that gave me success as a snap mapper, and I'm grateful for it because I definitely believe it deserves the success it gets. Time for the honorable mentions, and there's quite a bit of them, so get ready. The first one is an old map, but it's a nostalgic map to me, even though it didn't get the best ratings, and that map is Baron's Keep. This is an old school busy Man123 map, so what that means is it's 250% damage with 1 life only. It's very balanced for this setup and designed for it in mind. I just like how this map plays, and for a first original custom geo map, I'm proud of it. And it's still a map I'm really proud of making, even though it feels very amateurish compared to my later works. I always thought Redemptor Map 1 was the best map I've ever made to start off a campaign, and man, is it just a really well designed map in terms of flow, layout, environments, and of course, its crazy fights. I want to mention the next map, which is a Decipher map, and this one was never the one I knew that wasn't going to be on my top 10 list, but it's easily one of the best maps from the campaign. Map 7 Cry Havoc is just an awesome map. The areas you go to, like you're jumping from platform to platform to an island, and then later on you're storming into a demon fortress, and there's so many demons to kill. What more do you want? Oh, do you like a lot of exploration? There's also a lot of that. Another honorable mention map is easily one of the best Decipher maps, and that is Map 9 Frantic Fury. I feel like the theme works for a secret map, and I did kind of like how I tried to experiment with it, like, you know, the last few arenas where I tried to like create some sort of like space hellish type of arena. It's pretty much similar to what you expect from a Decipher map, lots of intense and fun combat with heavy exploration, But I'm also really proud of the BFG fights. I feel like they're very fun, and it's the first Decipher map where you get the BFG. I'm also proud of the whole, quote unquote, if you don't find the BFG, your life is going to be a living hell type of design. These two maps are collaborative maps, and they can also work for the community maps honorable mentions. And the first one is the Infernal Machine. It's just simply a fun custom geo map, whether you play solo or co-op, and I always liked what me and Void did overall. The second map was a tough one to choose. It was either the prequel to the Infernal Machine, which is Frag Like It's 1994, or the very first collaborative snap map ever made, the Stain of Hanupku, made by me, Watsta, and Pigdog. I decided to choose Frag Like It's 1994. I just think it's the better map in terms of quality and quantity, and there's just not a lot of classic custom geo maps compared to the modern ones. Also, it's a map that feels like an official classic Doom map, or a map that belongs to a megawatt. With that said, I still want to give Stain of Hanupku a shout out. It was ahead of its time, and it was a map that was pushing Free Update 2 to its limits, and it definitely does bring me back some good memories. These last three maps are pretty recent, but I think they deserve them. The first one is Secluded Map 4, Reality Warp. I really love the rune trials in this one because they're all fun to play with their own tweaks here and there, but it's pretty much just kill all the demons. Not only that, it just feels like a Doom 2016 level. It's just a solid level, man. The next one is Secluded Map 5, Perdition, and this map is easily the most custom geo heavy map for Secluded right now, and I really love what I did with the story. I'm also proud of the culmination of Doom 2016 and classic Doom level design. It's the best map of Secluded, easily, and the last map is none other but City Survival 2. It was definitely not an easy task for me to make a sequel to my most popular map, but I think I did with what I tweaked or add to make it feel fresh, and also try to make sure the map gave you that same charm of the original. I think as time progressed, maybe if there's more ideas I can think for the map, it could end up being better than Nightclub Survival. My number one map isn't number one because it's the most prettiest map. I personally think it's a good looking map, but not my best visual design. I played this map quite a bit, but not my most played map, and it doesn't really have an interesting personality like City Survival does. However, this map is similar to Baron's Keep, where I always thought that map represents my mapping style very well. It has a lot of fights, but these fights are very sweaty. It has a lot of exploration, and not only that, it just has that classic Doom vibe to it. This map takes all of that aspects and crank it up to 10, and that map is Decipher Map 4, The Refusal. Map 4 is the ultimate busy Man123 map, and it really represents what you expect a map from me, and that's really all I gotta say. It's pretty much what you expect from a Decipher map. There's the sweaty combat with classic Doom level design, and it's the first map that kind of have a boss fight at the end, but the real boss fight happens at the last map of the campaign. I think why I prefer this map over Decipher Map 2, Map 8, or Morbid Sanctum is because the fights and exploration is just more higher quality. I feel like a lot of the fights in Map 4 is very fun and kind of diverse too, which does create a good flow to the map. I always loved the layout of this map too, so maybe that's why I prefer the exploration of this compared to my other maps. With that said, it is my favorite map, and I personally think it's the best map I've made and easily the best one in my Decipher campaign. Thanks for watching, people, and next time I do a video something like this, I'm going to try to make a video about SnapMap campaigns you should all play, so stay tuned for that, people.